this is, I mean, just to come out here, the first part is, and I'm very disappointed that Mayor Tower isn't with us, because there's no one I love to needle more, and there's no one who's better at needling me. Certainly he and I were able to come in at a time, we were both new mayors in 2003, and right from the beginning agreed that we would put behind us all the differences and the turbulence that had occurred between Denver and Aurora, and really focus on where are those places we can work together, where can we make real progress that benefits not just the two cities, but the whole region and the state. And he's been such a remarkable partner, I think a remarkable mayor. I can't wait to see what he does next. And we're certainly going to, you know, as I said, he's a better needler than I am. So I come out better by him not being here. But I lose some great pleasure. Always a great pleasure to have Dick Kelly here. He has done so much for Xcel Energy, and is, you know, he's going to be one of those people that the folks that follow are going to talk about how if they see further than others, it's because they stand on the shoulders of giants. And he really has helped revolutionize the way a utility conducts itself and looks at the long-term goals of, again, our community and our country. Also delighted to be here with Dustin Smith and Michael Helmstetter, all the other officials that are here. This facility is exactly what Mayor Tower and I were talking about, you know, almost, what was it, 8 years ago, 7.5 years ago, when we were trying to figure out where we could combine forces and get things done that would benefit everybody. We had issues around water, poaching of each other's businesses, or all kinds of conflicts that had been in the past. And literally within 4 months, we were able to get it behind us with the goal of saying, all right, if there's going to be something like SolarTAC that's going to come, we didn't know SolarTAC was coming at that point, but we anticipated that things like that would come up. It wouldn't matter whether it was in Denver or Aurora. What mattered was that it was in Colorado, and it was in Metro Denver. And that we were, I see Tom Clark back there, he was one of the early cheerleaders of that whole approach of let's look beyond the narrow self-interest and see what we really can accomplish by looking at a broader and deeper self-interest, which is a lot of what, you know, Xcel Energy has done, a lot of the organizations that are supporting SolarTAC. SolarTAC is going to be able to allow companies to test their products more rapidly, be able to get innovation into an implementation phase much faster. When you look at the opportunities that are going to come around clean energy, they're going to be very narrow oftentimes in how wide that window is and how quickly we have to move to achieve it. There are obviously many companies, many regions that are all competing to become the dominant player, or one of the dominant players in this space. Colorado is uniquely situated. We're in the center of the country. We've got all this, you know, 300 days of sunshine, all this natural solar assets, but that doesn't mean that we can be complacent. And something like SolarTAC is a huge leg up. I think that some of what we look at, and I spend a lot of my time trying to, you know, when someone, I'm from that skinny kid, you know, when I was a kid, my dad told us if you can't talk your way out of a fight, you deserve to get whipped. I was a skinny kid, I had thick glasses and acne, and whenever people are criticizing us, I always try to go toward them and try to really listen, and part of this is all those years in the restaurant business, and try to hear what their criticisms are. And the critics of renewable energy and sustainable economies often are saying, well, we're not going to be able to get there, right? These subsidies will go on forever. We're not getting anything for it. If you step back and look at the reduction in cost for solar energy panels and how rapidly that has occurred, it is nothing short of astonishing. And when I talk to the critics, I often remind them of how long it took me to raise money when I wanted to do this thing called a brew pub, and no one knew what a brew pub was. And we opened Wine Coop back in 1988 when the rent in Lodo was $1 a square foot per year. And it was the same kind of skepticism. People didn't believe that this thing would work, hadn't seen it, didn't really understand it. It doesn't mean it's not real. And I think as we see more success in the solar energy arena, and we see endeavors like SolarTAC that really are able to accelerate the changes in technology, we'll see the success breeds success. And we'll, I think, in the next few years begin to hit that critical mass where visible change begins to change the perspective of the skeptics. And people begin to say, huh, maybe this is going to work. And maybe there is a future out there, not in 2 years, but maybe in 10 years or even 20 years, where we are going to be able to, harvest our solar energy and our wind energy in a much more viable way and have a much more balanced energy portfolio. When you look at, I think this country is now still spending a little over $1 billion a day in importing foreign oil. A lot of that money goes to foreign dictatorships. We certainly can't, we should never back away from that sense of urgency, that this transition economy into a new energy economy is something we want to make sure happens as quickly as possible. Best part about SolarTAC is that it does do that acceleration. It creates that sense of urgency, and I think it begins to push us all to the point where we are believers, and we recognize that each of us, as we're out talking to our circle of friends, becomes part of that embedding, part of the branding that solar energy isn't something in the far off distant future. They aren't endless subsidies. This is something that in the foreseeable future is going to have a major role in this country's energy future, and that role is going to be to a large extent just defined here in Colorado. So you're all going to make it happen. You're all deputized. Don't shirk your responsibility. Thanks.
The governor has to leave us. Of course, when you're the governor, you have all sorts of interesting, very important responsibilities. I will not, however, poke fun at him like the mayor would. Now I'd like to introduce